Hi there, welcome back to Fully Blessed. I'm Amanda, and this is the channel where we discuss timeless truths about issues that are important to women of faith. And today we have a pretty big topic that I want to discuss together. So we're talking about postmodernism. So we'll talk a little bit about what is postmodernism and how might it be sneaking into your life, and why is this a concern for us as Christians. So before we get started, I just want to make a little disclaimer, offer a caveat, that I realize that when we're talking about postmodernism, this is a really big topic. There's no way that I'm going to discuss everything in detail related to postmodernism today. There's a lot of things to consider when we're talking about such a huge topic. So just wanted to make that note that I realize that there's a lot to consider here. So first, what is postmodernism? Well, postmodernism has some general principles that would guide this way of thinking. It might be the belief that all things are relative and subject to my feelings or my experiences. Related to that, the idea that your truth is your truth and my truth is my truth, even if they don't match up. This would definitely be a hallmark of postmodernism. Another big thing you might hear in this postmodern world would be that everyone is right, and that we must validate and affirm everyone's feelings and beliefs. Even if we don't share them, we're still expected to affirm them. And along with that comes the idea that it's really not proper to say that someone is wrong or to tell someone that they are incorrect or that they are in error. This also leads into the fact that we really aren't supposed to be telling people what they can or can't do. Big things or little things. Everybody has their own life. Everybody is free to do whatever they want, whatever they feel. They're the only ones who know what is right for their body and their lives, because they're the only ones in that body living that life. So those are just some of the overall guiding ideals behind the postmodern movement. So thinking about those things, how might that be sneaking into your life? You might be feeling it's really not. Like, those don't really sound like things that I have a problem with. And you might be right. Consider these things. Or is there a hyper focus in personal choice and autonomy? Is there a personal individualism that is super important and highly stressed in your life? Or as you are talking to your friends, is this how your friends are living their lives and making their decisions about their futures? So this is a huge fruit of postmodernism. If you use phrases like the following, this would be also a fruit of postmodernism. Well, that works for you, so it's true for you. That's not my truth, or I don't believe that to be true. I feel like, and you can be whatever you want to be. Now, some of those things may have a small grain of truth at face value, but really, it falls under its own weight, and they don't line up with reality. So why are these things a concern for Christians? Well, first and foremost, this mentality does not align with the truth of the Bible. The Bible has very little room for gray areas. Most of what the Bible says is very explicit in this is right, this is wrong. There are some disputable things that we can have personal choices over, but by and large, the Bible tells us what is right and what is wrong, what God expects of us, and what he says is not good. This also does not align with reality, as I hinted at before. Imagine having this mentality and trying to build a building or a bridge or construct a road. You can't work that way. Math, science, the real practical world does not work in that postmodern way. There is right and there is wrong. 2 plus 2 is always 4. There is no room for error. And if you try that, it's going to have some disastrous consequences. Consider also if you're going shopping. You go to your favorite coffee shop and they tell you, yep, your total is $4.97. And you say, well, that's not my truth. I feel like it's only $3.19. That doesn't work. You're going to be probably laughed at and you won't get your food. This also is very inconsistent, as you see, and kind of caves under its own weight. This is just not how the practical world works. It also causes great stress and harm to people. Why would I say that? Well, when we put so much emphasis on people's feelings and them controlling their own lives, then it really falls on them to take the brunt of everything that happens then if things don't go right, because they have no one to submit to their authority and acknowledge that they are in control. Then they have to be. So therefore, when something goes wrong, it's their fault and they have to deal with it all on their own. This is huge and very stressful. Also, when they are in control of themselves and they don't acknowledge authority because autonomy and personal choice is such a huge thing, they now have to make all the decisions all by themselves, which sounds really fun until you actually have to do it. And now this is a huge stress. You have no guidelines. You have no one giving you parameters saying, this is good, this is not. This will be helpful for you, this will be harmful for you. Nobody can tell you that anymore because that's not socially acceptable. So you can see why this would cause a lot of anxiety and stress, because now everything is open and you have so many options. Again, that sounds like a great idea until it plays out in the practical world. We see this a lot in children today. If they're given free rein and no guiding principles, they're allowed to do whatever they want, they are stressed because they're not ready for that kind of freedom. And they suffer for it. So this also, probably one of the biggest points, would be that this refuses to acknowledge the sovereignty of God. God has made humans very special and unique. This is true. We bear his image in a unique way from the rest of the created world. But we are not God. God is sovereign and in control. He is the only one who has all the answers. He is the only one who has complete control of everything. And when we choose to not acknowledge that, first of all, that reality doesn't change. He is still God and in control whether we like it or not. But when we choose to live in denial of that, we suffer the consequences of going our own way and, like I said before, the stresses and the problems that follow with that. So some practical implications as we think about going forward in our lives. We have to remember that we are told to speak the truth in love. We need to speak the truth, and it must be done lovingly, but we can't do only one. We have to make the effort to speak truth lovingly. And our message, when we speak the truth and share the gospel of what Jesus has done for us, this is going to be offensive to people because it rubs us the wrong way, especially in this postmodern world. So our message will be offensive, but we should not be. And as for our feelings, we'll touch more on that, our feelings and our emotions, in a later video. But I don't want to knock our feelings and our emotions. Those are important. God gave us those for a very good reason. So it's not that they don't matter at all. They absolutely do. But we run into big problems when those become the most important thing in our life and they are allowed to control and dictate how we live our life. I promise if that's what we use to determine how we should live or what we should or shouldn't do, it's not going to go well for you. And while they may be important, they don't define reality. I can believe that gravity doesn't work. That's not my truth. Gravity is not a thing. I'm going to have a problem the next time I try to jump out of a tree. It just isn't reality. And so the only way to really be happy is to acknowledge the sovereignty of God and accept the way He has made us and this wonderful world that we live in. So I hope that has been an encouragement and a blessing for you today. I hope that helps you to better understand a little bit this world we live in and what our friends are thinking and feeling and saying, and how to recognize maybe where we're going astray and how God can help us correct that. So if this has been a blessing for you, please like and subscribe and share it with someone who might need to hear this truth today. And until next time, remember that you are fully blessed because of the work that Jesus has done for you. So go and be a blessing today.